Hi, everybody. Today we are going to be making a digital blackout poem using Refugee by Gratz as our inspiration. Blackout poetry is a very popular type of poetry. Some of you may have made it before, but in case you haven't, it's a type of found poetry or eraser poetry. And what that means is that you use a piece of text that has already been written and you use words and phrases to find a poem within that piece of text, or you erase the words and phrases you don't need to create your own poem. So here you can see the slide that you have access to in Google Classroom with all of the directions. I'm going to walk you through it one step at a time to show you how Miss Fox and I made our example. So the purpose of this poem is to share something that you've learned about one of the characters in Refugee. So your poem will be based on Isabel or Joseph or Mahmoud. So the first thing that we're going to do is this link here that you'll see is going to force you to make a copy of a Google slide deck that we have already created that will formats your slide for you. So when you click here and open it up, it'll give you a blank page like this. The first thing that you can do is come up here to this text box button, click that and put a text box right here on the page so that you're ready to insert the text. So if we go back to our directions, the second thing we need to do is open the ebook and pick one page of the book to put in our slide. So we're going to go to the Language Arts and Social Studies Google Classroom. We're going to click our classwork tab. Under today's materials, we're going to scroll down to our quick write journal post where the ebook is, and it opens like this. To do this, we're going to open it with Cami. So we're going to click that button, and it's going to bring us to the ebook. Now, at this point, you're going to have to kind of scroll through and decide what page of the story you want to use as the inspiration for your poem. Miss Fox and I have chosen Joseph's story. And the page that we have selected is here where Joseph and his family are on the MS St. Louis and they leave Cuba, and their father is in Cuba in the hospital, and Joseph realizes they're probably never going to see him again. So this is the page that we're going to work with. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to get this text on our Google Doc. So I'm going to use my cursor and I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm going to highlight the whole thing. I'm going to right click it and hit copy. And then I have to go back to my blank slide that we had ready. And now when we paste it, we're going to paste it without formatting. That's going to be really important because otherwise it makes it all funky for you. So paste it without formatting, and you can see that it puts it all right in here. So now from here, you can choose the font style that you want. You can make the font a little bigger, whatever, so that it fills the whole page. So after we did this, here's what ours looks like. Okay, so there's the basis. Now, what we're going to suggest that you do is come up to File, and we're going to, nope, not File. So we're going to two-finger click this, and we're going to duplicate the slide. That way you have two of them, so you can kind of play around with it looking a couple of different ways and decide what you want it to look like. So we have two. Now let me show you what the final product looks like. This is what it looks like when it's all done. So you can see that we have taken out, we have erased a lot of the words, and all what's left here are the words that we want to use to create our poem. So we have found a poem within this piece of text about Joseph and how he's feeling in this moment. So the first thing that we're going to do to get to there is we're going to highlight all of the text, and we're going to come up here to the text color, and we're going to make all of the text white. Okay. And I know you can't see it, but stay with me. Okay. So now we're going to come to the background. You're going to make sure you haven't selected anything on the slide. Hit the background button, and we want the background to be black. Okay. All right. So now you can see that it's all, we still can't see the letters yet. Okay. So we're going to highlight them all again, and we're going to come over here to the highlight color, and we're going to hit transparent at the bottom. It puts a highlight over it when you copy it from Cami. So we're going to get rid of that. So we're going to click transparent. And now we've got a black background with white text. Okay. So now we have to decide what words and phrases we want to use to make up our poem. So if I want, in this first line, for example, I want Joseph. I want Joseph as the first word in my poem. I'm going to highlight everything else, and I'm going to come back to the text color, and I'm going to make it black so that the only word that I see is Joseph. Okay. And I might keep going. I might make sure, I might want the next word is wondered. Maybe I want the next word wonder. So I'm going to, in this line, highlight everything else, and I'm going to make everything else black. So now the only word I see in this line is wondered. And I would do that for the whole rest of the page until all the words that are left are the words that I have in my poem. So the last thing you want to do is you can, once you have, so these are the words and phrases that, I'll get rid of this. You can see how I did this. So these are the words and phrases that Miss Fox and I have left. Here's how the poem sounds: violence, crying, absent parent. Joseph needed his mother and Ruthie. We are not going home. No matter what, hope must always remain. Joseph fought his way to where the policeman stood. What about my father? I am sorry, little man. Pulsing heart, I am sorry. Joseph looked, searching for help, some sympathy. The MS St. Louis left Havana Harbor, destination unknown. A tearful goodbye to his father. His shirt collar ripped it along the seam. Joseph knew Papa was still alive, dead to his family, and so was their dream of joining him in Cuba. So we took out a lot of it, and all that's left here are the words and phrases that put together this poem that Miss Fox and I really wanted to show what an impact this moment had on Joseph and how sad he was that him and his family not only were leaving and he didn't know what was left, what was coming for them in their future, but he also knew that he'd probably never see his father again. So here, see how I have this text box? You can play around with the size here. You can play around with the font so that it will lay how you want it to. And you want to make sure that when we read it from left to right, all the way down, your poem makes sense. So here I got this little red squiggly line. It's driving me crazy. So I'm going to ignore that. It's telling me that there's a spelling error. And now it's like this. So now you can add an image here that will match the poem. So the piece here that's standing out to me is this tearful goodbye and how sad Joseph is. So I went into Google Images and I searched watery eyes. And you want to put this PNG next to it. And that's going to be important so that it gives it a transparent image so that you don't get that white box around the outside of the picture. That can it won't go with your blackout theme here. So I did some searching. I searched for quite a while, to be honest with you. And this is the one that I decided on. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy image. I'm going to go back to my example and I'm going to paste. You can paste normal here. And now it will make it big in the middle of my slide. I'm going to play with the size of this and I'm going to put it right in this big spot where I've got on the side here. And, I'm just putting one picture in here. You can do a couple. You can make something go across, maybe I had teardrops that kind of went down the side or something. You can get as creative with this as you want to, but then this will be your final product. And then once you're happy with it, I can delete these other slides. I don't need them. And I'm going to come back to my directions. We'll link, this video will be linked here so that you can go back and you can watch it as many times as you want to. We're going to add this to our digital portfolio and the directions are here. And this is pretty straightforward, right? We're going to go under our language arts subpage. We're going to make a new subpage. We're going to title it Refugee. Under Refugee, so we're making two subpages. We're going to, under our Refugee subpage, we're going to title one, we're going to make a separate spot for Blackout Poetry, and we're going to insert this slide. You can download it as an image and insert the image. You can insert the Google slide deck, however you want it to go. There's a checklist that you can make sure that you've met all the requirements. You've made a poem, that there's a clear mood, there's a clear emotion that you are trying to portray to your reader in your poem, and that there's a topic and that it stays on that one topic, right? Like in my example, Miss Fox and I wanted to make sure that we were showing that Joseph was devastated, really. I mean, he's more than sad. He's devastated. He's conflicted, and there was a lot emotionally going on for him. That there are images in there that connect to the poem, right? Our watery eyes connect to the tearful goodbye line. Everything's easy to read. We've used a page from the book. And the words and phrases that you wanted are in white, which we've done. The background is dark, and we use black. Maybe you use a dark blue. Maybe you're doing Isabel, and you want the background to be like water. So maybe your background, it might make more sense for your background to be blue. I don't know. And that we've added it to our website. So everything's here. There's check marks here that you can kind of use to keep track of what you've done. The one last thing I want to show you is we have a level up option. So this is optional. If you complete this step, yes, there's extra credit in there for you. You're going to click right here. There'll be a link here to a Flipgrid. You'll record a flip where you will read your poem, and then you will explain what you're hoping others will learn about that character based on your poem. And then you will add that flip recording to your website as well. So that's completely optional. If you don't get to that step, you're not going to lose any points. But if you're someone who's looking for some bonus points here in quarter 4, this is a really cool option to add to your poem. So that's how you make your digital Blackout poetry. I hope you have fun. Be as creative with this as you want to. You can go back and watch this video as many times as you need to help you get through each of the steps. Have fun. Good luck.